Good morning, Mrs. Turner, and year 3 and 4 at St John's Primary School in Ely. My name is Alistair Humphreys. I am the author of The Boy Who Bite the World. Thank you so much for reading my book. I really hope you enjoyed it, and thank you for sending me some really good questions, which I've got here. You've sent me a lot of questions, so I'm going to rattle on with them, if that's okay. Excellent questions, by the way. I like them. Charlotte says, are Tom and Lucy brother and sister? And Lucy wants to know why I chose Lucy as the main character's name. Well, Lucy, I chose the name because of you. I thought you'd really like a book starring Lucy. So there you are. It's all for you. Tom and Lucy in the books are brother and sister. Tom cycled around the world in The Boy Who Bite the World, and then Lucy, his younger sister, thought, it's time for me to have an adventure, and so she decided to be the girl who rode the ocean. So yeah, they're brother and sister, and one of the reasons I chose those names is that, just for you, Lucy, there you are. Perfect. Ava says, Ava or Eva, apologies, how do you know so much about the ocean? Well, I don't think I know that much about the ocean. There's a lot to learn. But what I do know about the ocean, I learned in 2 ways. One, by rowing across the Atlantic Ocean myself. I've also crossed it in a sailing boat once. I've crossed it twice by sea. So I learnt stuff then. But a lot of the stuff in here, the sort of school teaching stuff, I learnt by teaching it myself in order to then write the book. So for writing this book, I read lots of books and websites and things to learn about the stuff that I wanted to share with you guys in the book. Koira, when did you first start writing? I think I started writing when I was about 4 or maybe 5, I think. So I was writing stories at school, and I think that's really important. That is basically, if you want to be a writer, that's when you start writing. Now, year 3 and 4, you do some creative writing about what Tom and Lucy's next adventure was, or something like that, and then you're writing, and you're starting to enjoy stories, and by reading books, you start to learn. You hopefully enjoy reading books, the stories, but without you realising, also going into your brain is all the knowledge about how to write stories and how to share stories. So you're starting to write now. I then cycled around the world myself when I was 24 for 4 years, and when I finished that's when I started writing books. And I've been trying to write roughly a book a year. That's roughly what I try to do. Rutendo asks, what inspires you to write? I don't think anyone's ever asked me that before. What inspires me to write is that I really love reading. I've written this book. It's called Great Adventurers, or if you prefer, you can read it in Korean. But the reason I wrote this book was because when I was young, I loved reading stories about other adventurers. And so I put all the people who inspired me, all their books, I put into this book. And the reason I mention this to you here is that reading other books inspired me to go on adventures, and that then encouraged me to write myself. William says, which of your own books is your favourite? That's a good question. Well, I think this one has got the best cover. I love the cover of this. Do you like the cover? Oh, by the way, did you notice the flip book effect? If you flip through the book, you see Lucy rowing. I hope you noticed that. A few years ago, I walked through Spain playing a violin very badly, and I wrote a book about that. It's a book for grown-ups, so I don't think you'd be that interested in reading it, but you might actually like to look on YouTube. It's called My Midsummer Morning on YouTube, and you can watch a video of me doing that adventure. But that book, I think, is my favourite one that I've written so far. 3 people, Warrathan, Leger, Aidan, Abby, 4 people want to know, what is your favourite book? Excellent question. Well, that links on to what I just said about Spain. So I was inspired to go to Spain by a book called As I Walked Out One Midsummer Morning, about a young man walking through Spain playing the violin. And that's my favourite book. So reading that book inspired me to have an adventure, which then inspired me to write my own story and book about it. Velvet. Oh no, sorry. Sarah Thomas and Hannah. What was the first book you wrote? The first book. So I think you've read this book about cycling around the world. The first book I wrote was the version for adults about cycling down Africa. Velvet wants to know, how long does it take to write a book, and what did you want to be when you were a child? When I wanted to be a child, I wanted to play football for Leeds United, or to play cricket for England, or to drive a digger in a quarry. And then when I was a teenager, I wanted to be a vet, but I was too lazy. So then I thought I would become a teacher. So I trained to be a teacher, but I was too lazy. Teaching is really hard work. So instead, I cycled around the world and became an adventurer and a writer, because I'm quite lazy. Although actually you can't be lazy being a book writer, but anyway, enough of that. How long does it take to write a book? Roughly 1 year, one book, roughly. But I'm just finishing. In fact, I'm hoping that I might even finish it today. I'm finishing writing a book about exploring the one map that I live on, little by little, really exploring locally. And this book's taken me almost 3 years, and it's driving me crazy. It's so long to be doing a project that I'm so bored of it. So I hope it's a good book in the end, because it's killing me. Vakari and Joshua, why did you want to be an author? Why I wanted to be an author, the simple answer is it's quite cool to earn money just by sitting around in my nice shed, wearing scruffy old clothes, drinking cups of coffee and listening to music and writing some stories. It's fun. I like being my own boss. I like being responsible for my own work. I like spending my days trying to imagine fun stories. Yeah, it's pretty nice. I think it's really important to find a job that you enjoy doing, because you're going to spend a lot of your life doing it. So yeah, I enjoy that I earn money from doing something fun. But I also like, hopefully, that by writing books I can get a message to people and tell people things that I hope is important. So, for example, I've earned some money by you buying this book. Thank you. But more importantly, perhaps, is I hope some of you might be now inspired to protect and care for the oceans as well. So writing books is a really good way of getting a message out that's important. Holly says, have you ever been on a great adventure? Well, Holly, all the adventures that I've written about so far are things that I've done myself. So The Boy Who Biked the World is a version of me cycling around the world. The Girl Who Rode the Ocean, I rode across the Atlantic Ocean in a boat like this, a green boat, but there were 4 of us in the boat. So yeah, I write about my own adventures. Oh, and that answers Minty and Olivia's question. Yeah, I did row the Atlantic. Jacob, Katie, Saffron and Oscar, did you like writing when you were younger? Now, what Mrs. Turner would like me to say here is, yes, when I was young and when I was in year 3 and 4, I really loved writing. And writing was really important, and writing stories was really important, and reading books was really important, because that then helped me go on to find a job that I loved. So there's my answer to that. Saul and Bronte, do you enjoy reading? Yes, I love reading. I really love reading. I honestly think, I hope I don't get in trouble from Mrs. Turner for saying this, I honestly think you can learn more from reading books than you can learn just sitting in school. Reading books can teach you so much, and you can find exciting new worlds. You can learn about sport or history or geography, or you can read exciting stories about aliens and dinosaurs. I love reading, absolutely. Poppy, Ellie, Rosie and Alice want to know what you're going to write about next. Well, I just explained one of my books, but the big question I have is, what children's book am I going to write next? I've just finished a second version of this book. It's called Against the Odds, and it's going to be for sale in July. So before the end of term, hopefully, maybe your school might buy one of these. Yeah, good for your library. It's called Against the Odds. But what I need to do is work out what I'm going to do after this. So if you have any ideas, that'd be brilliant. What I'm thinking is that Tom and Lucy maybe should go on an adventure together. What do you think? Good idea? Tom and Lucy go on an adventure together. They've already biked around the world. They've already rowed across an ocean. So what next? I'm thinking maybe a canoe. Hang on. Sorry. It's my mum phoning me to ask if I brushed my teeth this morning. Arthur, is writing your full-time job? Yeah, it is. Writing, but I also give talks to get some money, talks about adventures. And I used to make films and I used to do a podcast as well. But yeah, mostly writing's my full-time job. Rowan, what's your favourite food? Oh. Chinese. I love Chinese. Sam, do you like peanut butter? I do like peanut butter, Sam, but do you know what? I much prefer almond butter. Have you tried that? I really love toast, almond butter, slice of banana. It's like the posh, grown-up version of the banana sandwiches Tom used to eat. Barnaby says, do you like Roblox, Pokemon or Minecraft? Absolutely. Big fan of all of those things. Minecraft's amazing. It's like Lego online. You can build worlds. Brilliant. Mrs. Turner, how many drafts do you make when writing? Can you tell a bit about the writing process? Okay. So, how do I write a book? First thing I do, one, go on an adventure. So, in that case, I'll talk about this book. So, I rowed across the Atlantic because that was a brilliant adventure and I wanted to go on it. And when I'm on an adventure, I write diaries to help me remember everything that happens, and I take photos. Then I come home, have a shower, banana sandwich, cup of tea, and then I sit down to write the book. First thing I do is type up all of my diaries so that I move them from a notebook onto a computer. And then I need to take these brief little stories and build each one up into a separate story. So if you notice a book like this, each chapter is roughly one story. So I need to build that story up. And you do that through all of the different stories until you've got a long book. And you're excited, you think, yeah, I've finished. But then you go back and read it all, you check your work, like hopefully you do. And when you read back through what you've written, it's usually a bit rubbish. But at least you've started. You've got quite a lot written down now. So the next thing I do is go back over it all and redo each chapter, each story to try and make it better. And then I print it out and I go through with a red pen, correcting and making things better. And I type it up and I print it out and go through with a red pen and correct it and make it better. And I do that 10 times, maybe. And then a part I really enjoy is trying to work out the structure of a book, how it all fits together. So this book, you'll notice, is roughly a story about Lucy and then a homework lesson, some facts about the ocean. So I'd written all the Lucy stories and I'd written the homework facts, but they didn't really fit nicely together. So what I then needed to do was try and make it so it fits together. So, for example, let me see if this opens out on a good page. I can't think of one off the top of my head. But what you'll notice now, if you look at the book, is that often something happens to Lucy. Let's say she sees a whale. And then the homework next is, here's stuff about whales. Or she sees some plastic. And then the homework is, here's stuff about plastic. So I have to make sure everything fits nicely together. And the way I do that is I shrink down the writing in my book till it's tiny, so that I can print out one chapter on one piece of paper. And then I print out my whole book and it's 60 pieces of paper. And what I do then in my house, I clear away all the seats, all the chairs, and I put the paper down on the floor in order. So then I can look down and make sure all the pages are in the right order. And I literally walk over the pages of my book thinking, no, this chapter should go here. And this chapter should go here. And so what you end up with in the end is this book is based on a true story. So I did row across the Atlantic. I did get seasick. Lots of these things happened. But over time of rewriting this story and moving it around, it's not just exactly how it was with me. I've changed it around to try and make it into a better story. And then you type it all up again and correct it and print it all out. And then you look for spelling mistakes. And that's what I'm doing now for this book that I'm hoping to finish today. And you keep reading and checking it until eventually comes the point, either when the publisher says, come on, you need to finish because we have to print the book and put it in the shops, or like the book I'm doing now, I just get to the point when I think, if I read this book one more time, I will scream and throw my computer across the room. And that's when I say to myself, okay, enough is enough. Send the book off, it's finished, have a cup of tea and a banana sandwich, maybe go for a bike ride, and then think, right, what will I write next? And then the process begins again of making new plans. And that's quite exciting then, hatching the new plans. Right, thank you everyone for all of your brilliant questions. I hope they might have helped you with some of your book writing. And most of all, good luck with all of your own adventures. Bye.